Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Experience, where I bring all the dopest entrepreneurs here. I usually bring them from the Bay, but today we have someone special. But before I let her introduce herself, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this, right? Because only haters watch YouTube videos and don't subscribe to them, and you're not a hater, so you're going to subscribe, right? Cool, thank you. I want to introduce my guest because I'm excited, right? I'm excited. I got some questions for you, but I want you to introduce yourself to the people.
So I am Coach K, the grant expert. I educate entrepreneurs on how they can get access to funding to fulfill their dreams, to grow their business. So debt-free funding, grant funding, and business funding to help them
Yeah.
start their journey.
Okay. I like that. So I just want to say, I'm going to just start off like this. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. So last year I put on an entrepreneur experience and you came out and taught and you were the highlight of the show. I just want you to know that everybody loves you more. You were the best. After me though. Second best. You're second best. No, but everybody really, really loved you, right? And you were like the talk. Um, Let me ask you this. What made you say yes and come out here?
I have been in the space where I hosted events
Mm-hmm.
and needed support from someone who had a platform or had an audience and who could provide value to my event. And I've definitely been on the other side of the table of planning an event where somebody might have charged me $10,000, or they said no because they didn't see the vision. So
Yeah.
and I looked at your page before I said yes, and I've seen all of the amazing stuff that you are currently doing. And then Ternique, absolutely love her, and I was like, why not?
Yeah.
I love what he's doing. I love the mission. I understand the value that I'll bring and the impact. And if I can help him just by showing up, I'm on my way.
That is amazing. Yes, because everybody won't do that.
Yeah.
Right? You and Jason did that, but Jason actually hit me up because you posted the event.
Mm.
You posted the event. He was like, "Oh, what's this? Why I'm not there?" And he literally sent me a DM, "Call me, bro," and was like, "Hey, I need to be a part of this event." So not only did you come and help because you posted, you made someone else want to come, right?
Yeah.
So it's really the community, right? The helping out each other. That means a lot. And everybody isn't that way. So I just want to give you your flowers because I really appreciate that. A lot. That really means a lot to me because as I do these events and bring different people out here, it's not always easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy and it get expensive. And I ain't got no grants up like you. I need to get my grants up because a lot of this stuff costs out of my own pocket. So I'll say this. I bought David Shands, right? In total, it cost me $10,000 for him, right? I had to fly him and some of his people out and all that kind of stuff. But I had to use my own money. I got a credit card just to afford to bring him out here, right? Especially you're doing things before ticket sales and stuff. So as entrepreneurs, we do a lot of the funding out of our own pocket. That's why I think that what you teach is so important because the grants are free and we don't got to pay them back. So can you just talk more a little bit about grants because some people hear of grants, know about it, but they don't always they don't know the full detail, right? So can you just talk a little bit more about grants?
Absolutely. So I teach and educate this because I was in the space. I was on the other side and I was spending my own money to
For
fund my
sure.
business. So
Hmm.
I had a child care center and I invested over six figures of my own personal capital into this child care center and I went broke.
Yeah.
So it's understanding that there are companies and organizations out there who will give you money to fund your dreams. However, you have to have something associated with what it is that you're doing.
For sure.
So grants are an opportunity for you to grow your business debt free. It's debt free funding, no credit check, no requirement to repay it. However, these companies and organizations, they want you to do something to earn the money or the funding that we're requesting.
For sure.
So we can't knock on the door of these companies and organizations and ask for six figures in funding and we don't have anything to back up what we're going to use it for. So grants are an opportunity for you to fund your vision, fund your business. But these companies, they want you to do something, fulfill a mission, solve a problem, or
Right.
be able to take the funding and reinvest it back into the community or back into your industry to help your business, your brand grow, but also to make an impact in others as well.
Okay, let's kind of get down to it. Grants are scary. And let me just say this.
You see my body
And
language
I know,
change, right?
that's why I had to. That's why I had to like wait. Let me just talk about it. Let me tell you. Okay, number one, grants are scary because people are scared of paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Paperwork scares people because we feel like we don't know how to do it or it's just too much. It's overwhelming. Right? So, number one, that makes grants scary because of the paperwork. Number two, a lot of us ain't running our business like a real business, so we don't really got paperwork behind us. And so then that's another thing why people feel like grants and all this kind of stuff is cool, but it may not be for me, right? They may have an LLC and something like that, but they probably ain't never did taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't have the paperwork behind them. So for a lot of people, grants are scary.
I agree. In a way,
Okay,
right? So
let's talk
so
about
let's
it.
go ahead and get this together,
Let's get
right?
it together because
So
they need to know.
I had a meeting with our mayor's office in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And in that meeting, there was funding that was supposed to go to minority entrepreneurs. None of the funding went to minority entrepreneurs. And when it came up in the conversation, why did the funding not go where it was supposed to go? It's because we didn't have our paperwork in order. So I understand exactly what you're saying. However, if all I have to do is make sure my business is straight, if all I have to do is register with the Secretary of State, pay them their $200-300, and make sure I'm doing my part on the back end to get
Yeah.
access to a billion-dollar
Facts.
empire, why would I not?
Yeah.
You can hire a registered agent for $49 a year to make sure your business is in order, to make sure your LLC is filed, to make sure you're paying your state registration fees. But there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are playing it small. Now, when it comes to getting grants, I am so confident in my vision and confident in the business and the brand that I'm building that I'm not letting something as simple as having an LLC or having an EIN or those small foundation pieces stop me from getting access to funding and capital.
Sure.
So to the person that's watching this and they're scared or intimidated of grants, it's because they're scared and intimidated and they're operating in fear when it comes to building their own business.
Okay. I like that. So let me ask this. Let's say I just started my business maybe a year ago, but I ain't really done nothing with it. And I'm deciding, okay, I'm going to take this business serious and grow it. If I'm just starting out and I've never done taxes, but I've never ran the business to do taxes. If I'm a startup company, am I still able to get grants even though I don't have like all of that behind? Like I'm just starting. I've been in business for 2 months.
Absolutely. So there's a grant opportunity available for everyone.
Okay.
Right? So there's some grants out there that are startup friendly. They might understand that you've been in business for 1 day or 1 year, but they still have an opportunity available for you. Now, sometimes these are micro grants. They might be less than $100,000 or less than $50,000, right? But when we talk about our 6 and 7 figure grants, they're going to want some paperwork to back it up.
For sure.
It's impossible for us to knock on these doors of these foundations and organizations and say, hey, give me $200,000 to go make this happen. And we don't have the proper documents. Now, there's some grants that don't ask for tax returns at all, right? So there's some grants that only want to make sure that you're a registered business, you know your mission, you know your impact, you know what you're going to do with the funding when you receive it, and they'll give you access to the funding and capital. However, grant funding is taxable. So when you receive this grant, you do have to file taxes on it. However, we are reinvesting the money back into our business. So you can offset with a good CPA, a good tax expert. You can offset the taxes when it comes to grant funding being taxable.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. That eased the pain a little bit, right? Because like I said, let me just say this. Like when COVID happened, SBA, PPP, a lot of people didn't do it because they didn't have their paperwork, right? And that right there made me realize like how do we get this message out there for we to stop operating with a small mindset, right?
Mhm.
As a lot of, we just operate like, oh, we under the table, we just gonna little few dollars here and there. But I like to try to talk to people and tell them about, like, we have to start thinking of ourselves as like big business,
Mhm.
right? We have to get out of that, like, oh, I'm just this small. So, like, even like me as a content coach, I'm teaching people about content, and they always think, oh, I need this big team, I need this fancy equipment, I need this X, Y, and Z. When it's just like, no, you don't. Right? There's something that you have to do to start, right? And then once you start, you still got to put that effort in, right? Because if you don't have the money, you have the time, and you got to put in the extra time until you get the money to take away from that. So I like that. And so you have a community. Tell me about your community
So let me answer the first part of that
first.
question. So in my community, I teach entrepreneurs that building your brand, you have to build it from the ground up as
For
if it
sure.
already has the vision or the potential to be the $1 million or $1 billion brand that it will be. If you start with that mindset from the beginning, it's almost, I'm not going to say impossible for you to fail, but you're going to always have that thrive. You're going to always have that drive to build it and make it that brand, right? So you start from the ground up as if it's already the Amazons or the Teslas or the Sony productions.
Right.
And then when you go in it with that mindset, now companies are going to be excited to invest into you and to give you access to the funding and capital that you're requesting. So build the brand from the beginning as if it's already $1 million or $1 billion brand.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that. Build it with the already $1 million brand mindset.
I already know this brand is $1 billion brand. I
Okay.
just need the right funding, the right capital, the right resources to make it happen. And when I get the right funding and resources to make it happen, this is where I'm going to put it, and this is how it's going to grow. It's already $1 million or $1 billion brand.
Already that. Okay, so I asked you about the community, but I want to kind of backtrack.
Yeah.
People do grants for other people. Do you do that, or does anybody in your community do that?
So a couple of different things. I educate, right? And in order for me to write a grant for you, I have to educate you first, because grants are not an overnight journey.
For sure.
Right? Grants take time, and hiring a grant writer is an expensive investment. It's definitely something that I encourage people to do when you have the funding and capital in your business to make it happen.
Right.
If you're a growing entrepreneur, you only got about $10,000 or $15,000 to make this business and this brand grow, but you want access to funding. You need to be learning this strategy on your own and applying for grants on your own until your business and your brand grows. If all you have is $10,000 in your account, as a grant writer and as somebody who has skills of getting millions of dollars in funding, I'm going to charge you at minimum $5,000. Why would I take that from you instead of educating you and giving you, what's the saying? Teach a person how to fish.
Yep.
Whatever that saying is, right?
Teach a person how to fish, they'll be able to eat forever.
They'll be able to eat forever. So I educate you on a strategy that you can apply to your business for a lifetime. But not just your business. You can apply it to every company that you have. You can apply it to your husband's company, your sibling's company. One of my best friends just got approved for a $150,000 grant that she wrote on her own, but it's because I learned a skill.
Yeah.
And then I shared that skill with her. And so now she has a daughter that wants to start a business, and her daughter's applying for grants because I learned a skill. So let me teach you and educate you on this information, and then you go after grants. Now that you have grant funding and you have money that's available for you, or you have, a little capital in your business, then go hire somebody to do the work for you.
Afterwards.
But then you can still be taking advantage of some of these small micro grants, because I believe that a grant writer should be going after large funding opportunities. If I'm investing $5,000, $10,000 into somebody doing the work for me, I need to be seeing 6-7 figures in return, right? Yeah. But it doesn't matter who's writing this grant for you. Grants are never guaranteed.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So even if you hire a certified grant writer, even if you hire Coach K or someone on her team, we cannot guarantee you a return. So that's a $5,000 investment that you are making, and I can't guarantee it. So let me educate you.
Yeah.
And then let's go over some opportunities and get you some capital that way. Then you can reinvest that.
Okay. 2 things. I've heard of, let's just say, on the business mindset, right? Okay, let's say somebody's watching this and they like, I want to get into grants as far as like teaching people or doing it for people, right? I know there's a business model to where people will do grants, but they will get paid like on the back end only once they get approved. What do you think of that business model?
So I also have an academy,
Okay.
so which is separate from my community. It's my inner circle,
Hmm.
and in my inner circle, I teach this information with so much detail that when they walk out of my 12-week program, they're certified grant writers.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So now we have people that are inside of our academy who are writing grants for others and helping others get access to grant funding.
Yeah.
However, in there, I teach them not to take a percentage of the grant. There are some grantors who will tell you when you're awarded the grant that, hey, if we find out that you paid somebody a percentage of this, we can
Wow.
recall the grant. Now, there are certain things and certain strategies that people do where they write themselves into the grant, or they list themselves as an employee, or they work for your nonprofit organization and maybe they take a percentage that way. But I actually frown upon that. I won't
Okay.
say it's unethical, but it's not something that I encourage. I don't encourage paying anybody a percentage of your grant. I don't encourage paying an application fee. And you should never have to pay like a fee up front, like, hey, send me $500 and I'll give you, 500,000 in a grant. So
Right.
be cautious of those.
Okay. Okay. So when I started I started a nonprofit about 8 years ago. It was one of the first businesses I started. My thing was this. This was before it became hella popular. I was like, I want a black business directory. I want to be the bridge from black entrepreneurs to consumers. And so I started my nonprofit called Better Black. And once I started my nonprofit, I got access to a lot of things for free because I had a nonprofit. And one of the things I got access to was Grant Station.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me, and I, at the time, oblivious, ignorant to it. Like I had it, but I never used it. Like I still get emails to this day from Grant Station talking about different stuff. But to me, like again, at the time, grants was scary to me because I'm like, I'm about to do all that paperwork and I ain't gonna get approved anyway. What platforms are good besides your platform? Because obviously yours is the best. But like, if I'm watching this, like, what platforms can people go find like different grants and stuff on?
There are so many amazing platforms out there. One of my favorite, of course, my platform, my community, where we give you grants to apply for every
Yes.
single day. But I find those grants using other platforms
Mm-hmm.
like Grant Station. One of my favorite is Hello Skip. Hello
Hello,
Skip.
Skip.
Hello Skip.
Okay.
We'll drop the link in the comments.
Okay.
But Hello Skip, they give out a grant every Tuesday and every Friday.
Wow.
So they go live, you apply for the grant, and then they go live. And every Tuesday and every Friday, they give multiple entrepreneurs $1,000 grant.
Oh.
Then every month, they give a $10,000 grant. And then occasionally, they might do another $5,000 grant. But on their platform, not only are they awarding entrepreneurs, whether you're a startup, new, existing, or even just have an idea, they're giving you grants, but they're showing you where other grant opportunities are as well. So they're saying, hey, this company has a $10,000 grant and we're going to help you apply. And then they also have a tool on their website that you can use AI to help you apply for grants as well.
Okay.
So they're educating you, they're teaching you about grants, they're giving out grants, and then they have a live where you can connect directly with the owner writer. He's amazing. You can connect directly with Ryder and for a chance to win a grant for your business as well. So that's one of my favorite platforms. Grant Station is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Grant Watch would probably be
Okay.
top 3.
So I'm glad you brought that up, and that's a good segue. How do you feel about AI and using AI for grants? And I'm asking you this because I remember, like, I've seen people talk about grants, educators on social media talk about grants, and then when ChatGPT became a big thing, I seen people online like against using ChatGPT to help you write grants and stuff like that. What's your take on using like AI to help you write grants?
So I absolutely, let me say this before I say that. AI is a great tool to assist you with anything in your business.
For sure.
However, you have to educate yourself on the proper way to use AI, and you have to educate the tool on who you are, your tone, your service.
Yeah.
And then when you understand this tool, it's a dynamite.
Yeah.
Like it can help you do almost anything. So once you understand AI, once you understand ChatGPT, it's a great way to
Okay.
find grants, to
Okay.
help you apply for grants. You can do something as simple as post a grant website that you're applying for and post your website in there together and tell AI, hey, help me apply for
Ooh,
this grant.
bars.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? The entrepreneur experience, it's what we do.
Yeah.
So you can post your website, the grant that you're applying for website, tell ChatGPT or AI, whatever tool you're using, hey, tie my website into this website or tie my
I like
mission
that.
into this mission.
That's dope.
Help me apply for this grant. Speak in the tone of a certified grant writer who has 10 years of an experience, and you're educating this and you're telling it what to do. You're not just going to AI and say, hey, write me a grant proposal.
Okay.
Right?
I like
So
that.
when you go in and you give it detail, you feed it information, you educate it, it comes out with an amazing response. Right? So you have
That's
to
a
make it
bar.
unique to your business. And when you educate it and use it the right way,
Yeah.
it's game changing.
I like that.
So
I
in
like
our
that.
community, we have an AI tool that we give the people inside of our community, and this tool is educated as me.
Mm-hmm.
So it has my courses, my information, my knowledge. So you have a certified grant writer at your fingertips at all times that can help you write and apply for these grants.
I just want to say, I was watching you being interviewed earlier, and you had a great interview. And I just want to say, Cam, she's giving me more information than she gave y'all because my questions are better. Okay, I'm asking better questions than y'all. Let's get to it. No,
I'm here for another day if anybody wants to do a part 2, you know?
You feel me? No, that's smart as hell. I didn't even think about that.
There's so many
That's so
ways
smart.
to.
You dope.
Thank you. You
dope.
are too.
You
That's why
dope.
I'm here.
Listen, okay. So I do a big event. Obviously, we just talked about it in the beginning. And I should have been applying for grants already, but I guess it's never too late.
Never too late.
I need to apply to some grants. I need to get some money.
So let me tell you what you do.
Okay.
Right? So the first thing
what
I
to
want you
do?
to do is I want you to go back and review your previous years because you've done this how many years?
This would be year 3.
Year 3, right?
Mhm.
So I want you to go back and I want you to review your previous years. I want you to get your stats. How many people did you impact? What did these people learn? Get testimonials, right? And so now we're able to showcase not only that we did this big event and
sure.
we're saying it's dope, but now we have the community that's saying, hey, this is dope and we need this to happen again. After you go and you figure out things that I did and what can I do to make this better, you put this on paper.
Okay.
Right? So now I have my vision on paper. And then we're going to turn this into a proposal where we're going to go out and we are going to connect with cities around the area.
Okay.
And we are going to make these cities want to fund this event. Well, it's been recorded.
I know,
so
but listen, it's being recorded, but I need to write it down so I can, you feel me? Go ahead. Keep talking.
So,
I'm listening.
So we're going to go out and we're going to make the cities not just the city that you did it in, but the cities in the surrounding area make us want to host the event in their area and give us the funding to make it happen. So now we have a budget that tells them exactly how much it costs us to host the event to the penny, right? It costs me $50,000 to get these guest speakers out here. It costs me another $20,000 for the venue. It costs me another $10,000 for marketing and advertising. So they know to the penny what you're spending the money on, how much it's going to cost you, and they have the option to bid on it. Either they can bid on it or they can give you the funding to make it happen. But now you're able to tell them and show them how amazing this event is.
Yeah.
And so it's easier to go in your back door and ask for the funding instead of just going to cold call or going to these corporations and saying, hey, I just need money.
For sure.
But your city and state should definitely be funding the entrepreneur experience because it's an amazing event and it's needed.
Okay.
Yep.
Good information.
No
I'm going to do
problem.
that. Okay. You know what's crazy? Because I'm just going to be honest, right? I'm real transparent. At times, I'm not the best entrepreneur when it comes to the paperwork, right? I literally had a conversation with Cam. Cam became like my accountability partner coach in a sense. And I was letting him know, I said, listen, I'm horrible with paperwork. And I was like, I had to be honest about that. And it's like, I need help. Like, I need help because money come in, money come out. I do these different events, I do these different things, and I'm not tracking the different stuff as I should, right? I've never portrayed myself as like this all around perfect know everything entrepreneur, right? My scope and scale of thing is content and marketing. So I'm not afraid to admit where I need help at, right? And so I literally, so when you said that, that made me think of me being honest and me going to somebody and was like, Cam, bro, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need some help. I need this data. I need to know. And like, can you help me? Right. And so that was literally a conversation we had because I had to just be honest with my skill set. And so like as an entrepreneur for as like at your caliber, like how is it of like you getting help, you being honest with like what you're good at and what you're not, mentorship, things like that.
Good question. So first, I want to shout out to Kim because he has an amazing software that can help you with your data.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do
Mm-hmm.
believe you have to be a nonprofit, but you have a
I
nonprofit.
do for sure.
But he can help you with your data for like we talked about it earlier. So I definitely think you should connect with him because it'll put all of that in place for you. So
Crazy, he ain't never
yeah,
tell me about it, but he tell you that's scandalous. I be meeting with him every week. He's scandalous. I think he a hater right on the under, maybe.
I just asked the right question.
You see, I'm learning.
That's what
I'm
it's about.
learning. Yeah.
But to answer your question, I am all about delegating where I need help. There are
Okay.
so many areas,
That is
especially
key.
now. A lot of people just wake up and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna hire somebody to do this." I learn before I delegate.
That's key.
So I don't want anything. There's nothing in my business that I can't do. Doesn't mean I'm 100% perfect at it,
Yeah.
but I have to be able to delegate that task so that I can be hands-on in other areas.
For
So
sure.
I can do a funnel. I can do my email automations. I can do my social media marketing. I can do anything that I need to do to make my business run.
Mhm.
However, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So, and I'm not even applying for grants for my business anymore. I have a virtual assistant that applies for the grants for me. That's a bar, y'all. I have a virtual assistant that applies for grants for me on behalf of my business because I'm so busy being the brand that I miss
You
deadlines. I
miss him.
forget to apply
For
for
sure.
grants. I forgot to pay my state registration fee on one of my LLCs one year. And I'm like, that can never happen again.
For
I
sure.
didn't know until I applied for a loan and they told me my business wasn't registered. I'm like, well, not
Like
me.
what?
Not
Right.
Coach K. But it's because I forgot. And so I had to put something in place to make sure that never happened again. So I'm all about delegating the task. Learn the skill first. And because you have to be able to coach, you have to be able to make sure this person understands your vision.
Yes.
And then you're able to put those systems in place to educate your VA or educate the person you are delegating the task to. But definitely delegate.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about mentorship changed my life.
Yeah.
And, just being able to have somebody who has already been on the journey be able to tell me, do step 1, 2, and 3
Yep.
to get to step 10, right?
Mhm,
You're going to
mhm.
skip step 5 through 9 and you're going to go straight over. Just having that person, that GPS, that person to tell me to help me on the roadmap to success has been life changing.
For sure. I like that you said that. Let me ask you this. Who's been a mentor to you? Who's been a mentor to you?
All day long, Nehemiah Davis.
Rock with Nehemiah.
Yeah, I love Neo Davis. True mentorship. When he tells me he'll text me at 9, 10 o'clock at night, like, yo, coach, you need to be posting 3 times a day. I'm like, I posted 3 times a day. No, you need to be posting 3 times tonight.
Yeah.
So, he gives me a ton of gems and, just true mentorship, and everything he tells me to do, it hits.
It hits.
Like immediately. We were on a call one day and he told me to do something on social media and I got off the call and I did it like
Yeah.
right then, executed right then. And I
Right.
think that's one of the key pieces is I execute when he tells me. But I did it right then. And that post got over 1 million views because of something he told me, because of a strategy that he already knew. I would have never known I would have been trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, but it's because of something he told me to do. So Neo has been an amazing mentor. And then one of my goals is to be an amazing speaker and to be the best in the world when it comes to
Best.
speaking and talking about grants. So Marcus Y. Rozier is my mentor when it comes to speaking and just being one of the most amazing speakers in the world.
So I really like Neo. I bought a lot of his stuff. I have his like IG to cash or cash flow like ebook. He did like a motivational album. I have
Mm-hmm.
that. I have some of his courses. I was able to like meet him and interview him a few times at different events and stuff like that. I have a shirt that's really popular that says "Focus on you until the focus is on you,"
Mm-hmm.
and I got that quote from him. And I remember like meeting him at an event, and I was wearing a shirt. I'm like, bro, I got this shirt. This quote stuck with me because of you, and I made a shirt. And he like took a picture, like, man, that's dope. But he learned it. He was like, man, I got this from, I can't remember his name. His partner, the fitness guy. I can't remember.
Mr. 2 Weeks.
Mr. 2 Weeks.
Okay.
He got it from him. And so like I really enjoy that circle, like the circle of CEOs,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff, him 500. Like I like what they do as far as like working together and doing stuff because we don't have that out here in California in the Bay like that. And so I always have to travel to Atlanta and different stuff like that to get that type of mentorship or education and things like that. And that's what kind of inspired me from to do the entrepreneur experience. The first people that I actually like rock with and start doing stuff with was Earn Your Leisure, Troy and Rashad, right? When they first started and I started rocking with them and they started teaching me some different stuff. Like I was part of their mentorship where we would get on like a FaceTime phone call for an hour, right? And their mentorship when they first started was like $40 a month. And we used to be one-on-one FaceTime phone calls, right? So I've been rocking with them for a long time, but because I rock with them, I was introduced to all of these other people. And so like that mentorship really helped me. And I think a lot of people are afraid of like mentorships in the sense of like you got to pay for people's time, and people think like if I got to pay for your time, they think, oh, it's a scam and different things like that. But something that what you said is like, number one, someone is spending time with you, you need to pay for people's time. But then you was like someone that went along the journey, and they can teach you steps 1, 2, and 3 to help you get to 10. And I think I don't want nobody to miss that because that's like hella important,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mentorship and getting that. So that's hella important to me. Like I done work with a lot of people, and I like Marcus Y. Roser, right? I learned about him from Madi.
Mm.
Madi speak highly of Marcus. I think they did an event together before too. And so just like you're surrounded and doing some good stuff.
Thank
So
you.
that's really dope.
You touched. Can I touch on
Go,
something else
come
real quick?
on,
You
let's
touched
go.
on something about networking, and I think people miss the power of networking. And when you talk about the circle, I didn't know this until I got connected with Neo, but they all met at networking events.
Yes. Yep.
They all
Yep.
met at networking events, and
With Eric Thomas.
exactly. So
Mhm.
I'm saying that to bring this up. I met Teranique at a networking event
Mhm.
several years ago, and we clicked. Like I'm walking out, it's the end of the networking event. She's like, "Girl, let me get your content. Let me help you with your picture." Right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a mean girl attitude. It wasn't, I'm in the room and I flew to California for this networking event. She was a speaker, but we connected. And then she invited me here. And then I'm back again. So it's just the power. And then now we are connected,
Yeah.
and you stuck with me. So it's just the power of networking, the power of connecting, and the power of just being in the rooms. I think that's a game changer as well.
For sure. That's dope. Well, let me ask you this because as I am the content guy, how's your content? How's content creation for you?
So content is definitely what built the brand.
Okay.
Getting over the fear of, and it was never a fear of being on camera. One of my biggest gaps in when I first started was I've always been very private.
Right.
So if you look at my social media, I don't share anything about my personal life. I keep personal, like a lot of people don't even know I have a daughter.
For sure.
So there were a lot of people who were telling me in order for you to be successful, you have to show your lifestyle. You have to show this. You have to be, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't do it at first. But when I got over the fear and I just put it out there,
Yeah,
my brand grew. And it's
for
because of social
sure.
media content. It's the value and the information that I give is very powerful, but I have to put that out through content
Uh
to
huh.
make the people come connect with me. So my content is good. However, it could be better because there's still a lot of missing pieces in my content. There's still pieces who want to know. Still people who want to know who is Coach K.
Yeah.
And I don't share that part of my journey, and that's what's missing from my content.
I would definitely like, I think that number one, you talk about money. People are always attracted to money,
Mhm.
right? So you always have a step above because you're actually teaching people how to get money. Now, going back to what you said, that's personal brand, right? And one thing I always tell people is building your personal brand is always going to help your business thrive because your personal brand is what makes people trust you and buy from you more. So you think of like a Rihanna, right? Rihanna personal brand is so dope, but like if you look at her social media, her personal page has more followers than her business page because people buy from people more than they buy from businesses. So definitely like adding that perspective. And the thing is about that is like you get to pick and choose what you share. You
Right.
don't have to share everything. You don't have to share if you got a little boo thing or two or three or kids and all of that kind of stuff. Like you can showcase the I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur. There's a little stuff about my life. So like you out here, you vlogging, you showing that you out here, you putting on an event in Cali. You flew from
Nashville.
Nashville and you came to Cali. Are you taking the
I'm
people
trying to
along your
make it
journey?
happen. I'm trying bits and pieces,
Bits
bits
and
and pieces.
pieces.
I am getting better. I am
Okay.
definitely working on it. I coach and I tell people to do better. So I am practicing what I preach.
Practicing what you preach. I for me, and this is like what I like when I teach people about, especially about the content, is that if you plan it out, it makes it much
Mm-hmm.
easier, right? Because a lot of times we don't plan it out. We'll just start taking videos of hella random stuff. And then when it goes back to us to create content, we got 100 videos of just hella stuff. It becomes overwhelming. We don't do it. But if we create like, okay, I'm going to Cali and I'm going to do airport, getting in my Uber, showing up to this podcast, changing outfits, for all three, four podcasts that I'm doing, getting ready for my event, speaking at the event. Like you showcase that whole thing, that stuff people really gravitate to a
Mm.
lot, right? But if you plan it out on the steps, it makes, especially if you don't have a videographer, if you got to do it yourself. If you plan it out like that, it makes it much easier for you to vlog the day
Mm-hmm.
because you know what bits and pieces that you want to showcase.
Makes sense. I'll definitely. I'm gonna put it
Think
in
about that. You
action.
gonna
You're
put
gonna
it in
be
action?
proud.
You
I'm
gonna
gonna
put
make
it
you
in action?
proud. I'm
Okay.
gonna make you proud.
Okay.
I'm a
Because
woman of my word.
I believe you. I believe it. So I can't wait to see it. And I'm gonna be like, look, she did it. That would be like she did it. That's so cool. Okay. You have an event coming up.
I do.
Before I ask you about the event, so like I've seen the flyer and I've seen the people that you have on there. You got some blank heads in the back with some question marks. You know, we don't know who they are, but if you add one more blank head, it could be me. I just want to just say that. It could be me. I could be one of those blank heads that ain't showed yet. Just throwing that out there,
I got.
shooting my shot. But tell me more about this event that you have coming up.
So I decided that it was time for me to come from behind the screen
Okay.
to the stage.
Yes.
So I am hosting an event. It's called the Funding Blueprint. It's a conference in Atlanta, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
where we are giving entrepreneurs the blueprint to getting funding. So we're doing live grant applications. I'm doing a pitch competition where somebody's going to walk away with $5,000 for their business. We're doing live
Nice.
funding applications as well. So hopefully we're going to get over $1 million funded in the room live.
Yeah.
And then we are, just educating entrepreneurs and giving them the blueprint they need to get funding. I'm sharing my mentor with my audience, Nehemiah Davis. And then we have a ton of other just amazing guest speakers who are just pouring into entrepreneurs and helping them get funding to grow their business.
how was it like putting events? I've been using this word a lot. Scary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Putting on events. Um, okay. David Shands just made a post the other day, and he talked about like most people lose money on putting on events,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then what's funny is him 500 made a post afterwards talking about it like, no, you don't. Like we making money, right? And so it's so funny, like interacting and working with both of them and hearing both of them teach me about putting on events because I love putting on events. That is my like favorite thing to do. Um, what was the mindset to like, okay, I'm going to do it because you said I'm coming from behind the screen. I'm gonna put on this event. Like what encouraged you and gave you the courage to actually do it? Because people want to put on events, but they be scared because they think like, oh, my audience ain't gonna be big enough. It's this and that, or enough people ain't gonna come and all of that.
Yeah. So the first thing is I went into it knowing that whether it's one person in the room or 1,000 people in the room, I'm gonna execute,
For sure.
and that's the biggest thing.
Yes.
So no matter who buys the tickets, who shows up, I'm executing, and I'm gonna make the people who didn't show up regret it.
Yes.
So when I hit that stage, they're gonna feel me, and they're gonna wish that their presence was there.
Like
So
that.
that's the
Like
biggest thing.
that.
You got to go
Yeah.
into it a little cocky, a little arrogant,
Yes.
but it'll be all worth it, right? As far as price point, I can definitely say not necessarily price point, but to talk about the David Shan him 500. I did an event a couple years ago. And I did it in the living room. I had a rental property that was vacant, and I did it in the living room of a rental property. Had about 50 entrepreneurs show up. This was in the start of my journey. And I definitely can say in that event, I probably didn't make any money.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know what I was doing. Not to say that David don't know what he's doing, because
For
David's
sure.
David's doing his thing. But
For
there
sure.
are a lot of people who just want to throw events because it looks good.
It looks good.
And they think, hey, it's going to make my brand grow, or it's going to make my name get out there. I've done several events between then. I've done like an entrepreneur day party and things like that, right? Just try to get entrepreneurs connected and networking. However, what I can say that the biggest piece that's different from that event and this event is I'm not doing it alone. I have a team.
That's key.
And that's the key. I have somebody in place for everything. So when it's time for me to hit that stage and execute, I can execute and I can breathe.
Yes.
So there's somebody for every piece there's a piece to the whole puzzle, and we're just coming together to make it happen.
You've said this word a few times, delegate, and I think that that's so important, right? The arrogance of us as entrepreneurs sometimes feel like can't nobody do the job but us, right? Oh, this is my business. I need to be a part of everything, right? And it's like, nah, you're not the best at everything.
You're not.
And sometimes to free your mind to let things go perfectly or just to give you clarity so you can show up at your best, delegation is key.
Absolutely.
Delegation is key.
I promise you I can write a grant better than you.
Yeah.
I know I can. But when it comes to filming content, you got me by 10. So why would I not hire you to come assist me in an area where I'm weak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So so let me ask you this: content. Do you have like a content rollout for the event or leading up to the event?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We got some. So there are a lot of pieces to my puzzle that I don't talk about a lot. So I have an academy and an inner circle. You never hear about it on social media. You have to be in my community to hear about my academy.
For sure.
Some people don't want to be a part of the community because it's so big, because there's one to so many. Some people want intimate settings.
For sure.
And I'm not sharing that on social media. So I may be missing opportunities. And there are people who want to work directly with me. So I have a rollout where we're kind of talking about more of the community piece.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the mentorship piece and the academy piece, because people want one-on-one mentorship. They want that additional intimate support. So we have a rollout that talks about that. Another key thing is, or another part of the rollout is just the brand awareness. I don't think people know enough about the blueprint. Yeah. And a lot of people think, oh, it's just a conference. It's not another conference. Not. Yeah, it's literally, there's very few platforms that are giving you actionable steps, like right there on the spot, 5 applications. live pitch contests, live grant support right there at your fingertips.
Okay. My advice for content as I'm thinking about this is like take people on the journey. Like at least like the week of,
Mm-hmm.
take them on the journey with you of like you preparing for this event. People, we will love that. I would tell you that. Like I would love to see you getting prepared for this event. And I
Okay.
know your audience will love to see that. I think that content will really hit for you. We nosy.
Okay.
People are nosy and we got to give people a reason to be nosy. So if you was like, okay, this is my week. This person here or this practicing or getting these slideshows ready or these phone conversations. Like people love that kind of stuff because number one, they love a story. We
Mm-hmm.
like movies. We love a story. But then we also just like to see how shit works. And a lot of times we don't get to see that with big events. That's like my community, we all went to the movies to go see Beyonce's documentary of her putting together her concert. That documentary was so dope because a lot of times people don't understand the work that puts into it. They think that, oh, you got a team, you got this, it's easy. But even with that, the shit is still hard. So to see that film and see Beyonce, how hard she worked and the practice and everything, how she's input into it and how she has, like, one of the things that was amazing to me is like her set. She has 3 sets. So if she's coming to San Francisco, her second set is going to LA and her third set is going to Phoenix. And then when she's done, this set is now going to the 4th city like that. And once you see like the pieces move like that, you'll be like, damn, I didn't even know it took all of that, right? And so like we're hella interested in that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
I'm telling you,
I
it'll
got
hit
you.
for you.
I got
It'll
you.
hit for you.
I got you. I'm doing it.
Okay, we are wrapping up. I just want to say again, thank you. Do you have any piece of advice for someone that's like watching this and they're ready? They're ready.
Yeah, if you are ready to execute, you are ready to go to the next level. The first thing is to be determined and committed to making it happen. Make it happen. Lock in on your goals. And then when you lock in on your goals, find a funding opportunity to fund your vision and fund your dreams, whether that be grant funding or business funding. There is a funding opportunity out there available for you. If you're sourcing grant funding, there are companies and organizations who will give you funding just by having just by having an idea, just by knowing exactly what your vision is and what you're going to do with the capital and funding. I tell people in my community to always make sure when you're applying for grants to simply keep it real. So, or make sure you're relatable to your investor, be relatable to the person who has the funding or the capital. Make sure you educate your investor about what you're going to do with the funding when you receive it. Make sure you have an action plan that outlines exactly what you're going to do with the funding. And make sure these companies love your vision, love your brand so much that it's impossible for them not to want to invest in.
That was good. I like that. I'm amazed. I've been taking notes on the under this whole time. Again, thank you.
No problem.
I really appreciate you. Thank you for watching the Entrepreneur Experience podcast, where we bring the dopest entrepreneurs out to teach you about them and so they can give you the gems to help you with your business. Subscribe because you already did in the beginning, right? Cool. Thank you. We'll see you later. Peace.